for doing an interview with you. Firstly, will you just share with us that you have done in your portfolio a lot of charities in Singapore prior to Australia, and in Australia also you are very active. Ask a little bit more on that.
In Singapore, I was involved in the tsunami rebuilding of homes in 2005. In Australia, of course, I also involved myself in community work, vice chair for the Mental Health Foundation of Australia, which is one of the oldest mental health association around, and for the Multicultural Ambassador, the Regional Advisory Council under the State of Victoria, under the Victoria Multicultural Commission. Sorry to have such a long title or that, but basically it means to say that my involvement is is engaging with the community at large. Okay, as you know, Australia is quite multicultural. So we participate in policy formations, understanding of the things that regards to their living as well, settlement, education, health, and even economic issues. The situation with the COVID, of course, does draws quite a bit of attention, and that is very important for us, as well as what we call the Regional Advisory Council. We come to understand how to deal with it and create multiple languages to filter down to the community so that they know how to respond to those government rules and regulation. So this is one of the things. Of course, the student that cannot come back to the university, this is also one of the concern for overseas students. So we get ourselves involved in that area as well to provide understanding of how we can support them. Those that are here that has not gone back, and those that have gone back but want to come back in. What are the issues they face? Not only academically, but of course in terms of some financial hardship should they encounter, and mental issues. Sometimes we do have a little bit of stress. So this affect everyone. So this is things that I get myself involved in.
Yeah, you must be very passionate about it.
Well, I always say, Gina, if we don't have community, there is no future.
Yes.
So I mean, we, of course, obviously when we go to work, everything, and we pride ourselves in our work, we pride ourselves in our education, but I guess community is about everything, isn't it? So in Australia you can get basically even durian, stuff like that you can get in Australia, so it's quite good. So so I get involved in all that, and I work very closely with the stakeholders, as well as state government, as sometimes even the federal side of the ministry as well, to make what kind of participation and understanding of our community at large. Yeah.
So this brings me to another question. We also heard highly that you are very much involved in Australian politics, and then maybe would you like to elaborate a little bit? I know you are a very humble man, but we would like to know a little bit more insight about that also.
Well, people always say business and politics are together. Okay, together. Some do not believe it, but I say that you should believe it, because business and politics has to be together, because without a good business, without a good economy, the government will be not so effective in running a lot of things that can support our way of life, right? So Australia, during this COVID situation, as you can see, that we have put on a very strong so-called support throughout the whole country. Financially we are robust, we are still strong. Our property has gone up by 30%, so on and so forth. So so that tells you, you how resilient, the financial, the administration, the government, and all that. I mean, so as migrant that adopted the country, I felt that it is a important responsibility, to participate in the so-called management of the country as much as possible, because it is not only for I would say for myself, but also for the next generation. So we need to participate so that we stay relevant towards the future growth of everyone here.
I think
Yeah,
it's
so that's
important.
my way.
Yeah, yes, you
Yes.
touch on a very good point. I think it's very important for the as a migrants to speak out their views, to contribute
Yeah,
to the
exactly,
society.
exactly.
Yeah.
We do what we can, Gina. We do what we can. I don't see myself being the next prime minister, of course, but we do what we can. All right,
We don't
you
mind
know.
seeing you that actually.
We'll talk about it another day. Okay.
Okay. Okay, there's another question which I'm really excited. Once I read your bio and then I was going through for this interview, oh, this one excited me a lot, especially as a businesswoman. And then, I was like, oh, I must ask this question, must take this opportunity. Even if
Well,
possible,
okay.
I want to create a whole new talk show about it.
Okay.
Okay, the big question is you are a creator of smart investment mindset and a smart mastery. So, what's this thing about? It's a big topic and very interesting, especially for myself and younger generations also.
The smart mastery and smart investment mindset are the programs that I created almost close to 8 years already, because
Wow.
I used to travel around Southeast Asia promoting Australia, okay, properties. So often I ask myself, and then through the through some of your colleagues at like NG, which we know each other for quite a long time, supporting the so-called relationship in terms of marketing overseas property into the region. So, how can a person understand about investing, right? So they obviously, investing overseas is a big topic, currently, even CEA has a regulation in Singapore to govern the so-called the proper way of understanding overseas law and so on and so forth before you invest. So these are the things that long before CEA created that agenda, I too have the experience that it was very difficult for people to understand. So I developed this program called the Smart Investment Mindset. Okay, just to address the investor point of view, how to look at investment, what are the key things, what are the things that you look for. And the Smart Mastery is actually a program to support agents that have not visited any country.
Oh,
Let's say
okay.
for example, let's say an agent in Singapore who have not been to Australia, and they have a customer who wants to acquire a property in down in Collins Street, Melbourne. How are they going to execute their service, right?
Yes, yes.
So this smart mastery actually guide them in how to process those steps and measure to make
It
sure
looks
that
like
the
you had a
information.
vision that there was going to be a COVID lockdown 8 years ago and prepared for it.
Yeah, well, it's all in the good effort of supporting, so-called good services,
Yes,
in a
yes.
way, I guess.
I think it's a very efficient things and then it should be highlighted, yeah, more, especially like now. Although the world is we cannot travel, but we became more united or closer, you know, and more accessible to the world, although we are all tied down in single countries individually. I think now we are more accessible through this process that we become more closer.
Yes, 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 yes. We are fortunate that we have this technological support. It's marvelous, isn't it?
Yes, yes. So we would like to, maybe invite you again for more details and then highlights about that in the future also. But let me proceed to another question right now. And then this is a major one because you were talking about properties and all that. So from a businessman and then traveling to many countries, I would like to know what in the first initial stage that you embark into a property market or in a property sector.
in Singapore. I work closely with Far East organization has plenty of properties in Singapore. So I used to do a lot of work, in property management, property maintenance, cleaning, and all that thing. And before all the apartment is being handed over, I will go in and clean it up so that
Oh,
the so-called purchaser or the project management team can come and inspect for defect before they sign it off. So I used to have the privilege and to really see fantastic properties all over Singapore,
wow.
because Far East Group is pretty big, in
Yes,
Singapore.
yes.
So with that, I deal with DBS land, Capital Land, and so on and so forth. So those are the days. Yeah. So that was my first so-called involvement in properties. But I think, in a nutshell, I would say to you, my dad always say, property is the best because you can't steal it,
Mm,
because it's in name. You can't steal it, you can't burn it. If you can
yes,
burn it, you probably have a insurance can claim it. And if somebody break into your house at night, and what are they gonna steal? They're gonna steal the door, the fridge, the toilet seats. I mean, these are the things, right? That can be replaced. So I think it's a wise way of looking at things. So that has stuck in my mind for many years. So till today, I can say that I'm a true believer of properties. Okay, and you can see the Fortune 500 people on the list. Whatever business they are doing, at the end of the day, there's something in there that says they own this property, they own this building, they own these assets. So
yes,
as you know, so
yes.
it is proven. Okay, it is proven.
Very much true. And then at the same time, I can see that you really enjoy and it's very passionate about it. So, okay, now we have a slight special program for you. We have looked into some of your YouTube videos, and then we have a very fantastic one to share with the audience today. So
Oh,
it's,
is
it's
it?
a surprise
Okay.
for you. So let me
Okay.
ask our admin to play the video, and then I will
Okay.
follow up with questions over that. So this video we found is you highlighting the Cambodia market properties and then business.
Oh,
Yeah, it's a very fantastic video. So let's share and then we can dive into some more questions with you. Okay, it was a very vibrant video, right?
oh, I'm glad you like it. Yes,
For you,
yes.
it may feel
I
like, oh wow, when was that?
Well, that video was done just before, just right after the first lockdown. I think
Wow.
was 2020, I believe, in
Oh,
February.
okay.
Yeah. Yes, that's it. Yeah, so I
Yeah,
did
and then
that after the lockdown, and I also got the opportunity to meet up with His Excellency Hong Manet, which is
mm,
the son of the Prime Minister Hun Sen.
oh
So yeah, that was him in the video as
yes,
well,
yes.
and yeah, and I remember what he said to me. He says, "Philip, can you help me to promote investment into Cambodia?"
You
So
certainly
there you go.
do a
So I
great
thought,
job.
what a better time, to do a video of it, just to promote a little bit. But of
Yes,
course,
yes.
because I'm a true believer in the journey that I have in Cambodia for the last almost 11 years, I believe. So
So after
I do
having
appreciate it. Yeah.
a good big portfolio of establishment in real estate market in Singapore, Australia, how did you stumble upon Cambodia market, and then how did you get into Cambodian market in the first place?
Well, Gina, it's a very interesting story. If I can, I'll share with you on this one. I'd like to share that. You see, way back then, I was exploring into, as you know, I traveled to Southeast Asia, right? Singapore, Malaysia, and all that, to conduct a seminar for investment. And often I ask myself, is there a place that I can actually look back, like in Singapore, often when we talk about investment, we're talking about the best time to invest was long time ago, and the
Yes,
last best thing to do is to yesterday. Okay,
yes,
but of course we miss all that. So sometimes we ask ourselves, maybe there is opportunity today, but where? Which part? You see? So I decided to visit Cambodia. All right. So that is how I actually found this beautiful place, the Kingdom of Wonders. I still remember on the plane, as I was approaching the airport, I look out the window, all right, Gina, and I can see the vast land,
mm,
vast land, just very level, so wide, open spaces as far as my eye can see, beautiful, and there are patches of water here and there.
yes,
It's
yes,
not unlike you're flying into Singapore where you see tower after tower.
yes,
No,
yes.
it's just basically plain. And I ask myself, where is the CBD? Where is Orchard Road or where is Shenton Way? And I was looking out the window and I was like, geez, is that all? Now that was about 11 years ago, right? Then
There's
I
no
said,
concrete building plantations.
no. Well,
Pedestrian
even there
plantation.
is, yeah, even there is, it's not obvious. Look, you
Yes,
look at my virtual screen, right? That is
yes.
Cambodia, right? That is the
Wow.
current Cambodia. I'm sure it changed a little bit more. I can put a few more towers out there. You can scan here, you can see Naga
Yes.
World there.
I
so,
cannot even
but
tell
at
it's
that time,
Cambodia.
exactly. So at that time, it wasn't even, to this scale, what I mean? And this has been happening for the last 10 years, And I look at it, oh my God, this is a golden, opportunity,
Mm,
This is, it's just a potential, so much potential. Coming from Singapore, we having a small country state, we understand the limitation of space. And we also understand that opportunities does not come easy, because it costs a lot, to own a freehold or a piece of land and things like that. And if we are able to look at Cambodia opportunity today, what would it be? What would it be for anybody who want to have a second goal or even the first goal,
yes.
into building their financial, into building their wealth, into creating something, maybe a building, maybe anything else, So to me, wow. So so I cleared the airport, and when I was on the route towards the city, I was quite amazed, Gina, because they are wide open, road, beautiful, smooth. It's not mud or dusty or in a way that it's not well paved. It's all paved, beautiful.
Wow.
And I see big government office, amazing. You can see some of the video there, big government office, and straight away I realized that this country, is indeed very well supported by investment and all that, and especially Naga, Naga World,
Mm,
and at Diamond Island. Now, Diamond Island, okay, if you look at the history itself, you realize that Diamond Island is actually reclaimed land,
mm.
reclaimed land. And at that time when I was there, I can actually see Diamond Island itself. There are some buildings here and there, and I asked myself, which country prepare a reclaimed land, okay, and did not build anything on it. And there is something on it. And if there's something on it, that means this country actually have idea what to do.
Yes.
So
Yes.
there is a thinking government behind it. There is a planning behind it. There is some kind of direction of growth that this country, Cambodia, is actually have in mind. You can't reclaim a land yesterday and decided to build today. Impossible, right? Everything will sink,
True.
right?
True.
So you got to
Yes.
have a long-term planning. Okay, so that impressed me straight away, and I say we have to be very mindful because when I look at the Diamond Island, as you can see from the visual screen behind, the Diamond Island actually to me it represents Marina Square.
Hmm.
You know, so
Yes.
we are looking at the very close or similar reflection, okay, a mirror reflection of Singapore, Phnom Penh, the capital of Cambodia, reflecting that across the river of Marina Bay,
Yes. Yes.
where Naga will sit. Naga will sit probably is the Fullerton, number one
Ah,
Fullerton. That's where the Naga is, or
yes.
Raffles City. You know what I mean?
Yes.
And if you look across, sorry, I'm speaking in context of Singapore
Yes.
and
Yes.
Cambodia,
That's
right?
best. Yeah.
I hope the audience can understand that.
Yeah.
So we do not really need to look at how big this country is. We just have to look at the strategic location. In
Yes.
property or investment, everybody often mention location, location, location. So I'm telling you, my friend, this is location. Okay, this is the top location. It's the
Yes.
number one location.
Yes. Yes.
So I would say don't worry how far you go. It's when you
Correct.
go, what do you buy? Okay, what
Yes.
do you buy? Okay, you can go to Timbuktu and then you buy the worst part of Timbuktu is no use, right? But if you go to
Correct.
Timbuktu, you buy the best spot in Timbuktu, I tell you, you're a rich man. Because
Yeah.
there will be a pool of oil below it. You never know. So that is what it is. And that reclaimed land, is a true testimony of the future. And today
Hmm.
we are talking about, very so-called high-end, A-grade office. We're talking about world-class kind of standard apartment, beautiful standard apartment, building on those land that's being reclaimed. Now this is, like I say again, it's not something they think of yesterday. It thinks of years back, in terms of
Yes.
foundation, in terms of stabilizing the soil, all sort of things necessary in order to realize what they're building today.
I'm very surprised that they have think of a really very fast and a long-term plan of letting foreigners to own the properties. Other ASEAN countries took very long for their registry, for the regulations to come out.
Yeah, yeah, indeed. I think if you look at the video, you might say, "Oh, Philip, you're a real estate agent in Australia. Why you promoting Cambodia?" Well,
Yes.
to be, I mean to be out of fairness, I do hold a full license certification in real estate property, and it's always my passion. Gina, as real estate in Australia, is my passion too. But this whole business of real estate, all right, it's not about confining your financial opportunity to only one location. We have to look at it in a broader picture. Okay, this the video that you put out is not to play down anybody or to play down any other investment that this country is better or the other.
Mm.
Not at all. Okay, that is not my intention. But to really share from my personal observation, my journey, and of course, through my friendship with many people in the region, people in the business leader community, as well as the stakeholder of the countries, the sharing of the opportunities so that we can actually have a meaningful dialogue today, so that's what it is. So it is indeed a very so-called trend that is changing very fast. Okay, when I look at investment into those regions, I ask myself, what is the two things that is so important? And the two things that keep on coming out in my head, Gina, that is the two words: stability and sustainability.
Yes. Yes.
Okay, it's so strong. Whatever I
Especially
see, how I see it,
sustainability. Yes. Wow.
it
So important.
yeah. So to me, these are the pillar. These are the pillar. Okay, of anything that I want to discuss today. the trends that drive it, the mindset behind all that, the sustainability, okay, the sustainability, the stability. Now, what does it mean? What does it mean? These are beautiful words, you know what I mean?
Yes.
so, so that is how I look at that. I will explain a little bit further. Australia is still a darling for many investors or for overseas. They want to come in and they want to put money. It's a good track record. It's a good capital appreciation. So the purpose is to share investment knowledge, right? Isn't it? To understand the opportunity in the emerging economy in the Southeast Asia. So I still remain committed in advocating for economy and business goodwill. That's why I participate in business as well as government initiative, and strong home ownership and financial independence. I think that is the other thing. So the two words come into my mind again. Stability. Government stability is so important. Now, with the recent couple of years, we see a lot of unprecedented turmoil around the region, instability creating around there. Myanmar is not doing too well, and U.S. and China relationship, they have to have more coffee and maybe yam cha more often to understand each other. So these are things that nobody expect it, but it happens. So relationship is supposed to be maintained and managed. I have an overseas relationship, far and wide, but it takes effort to look into it, to really strengthen it. So therefore, the understanding of an investment strategy in a foreign country is so important to understand all that thing. You must have the relationship, okay, to be able to understand the growth opportunities, as well as the challenges. So I often I heard from your program as well. Investment is not for everybody overseas, especially. They have to treat it with seriousness and do their own due diligence. So these are the things that we advise people upon.
Yeah.
We are not the expert.
Correct.
Yeah, yeah. It's just a bit of a important disclaimer that I just put out there.
Yeah. So yeah, you have covered the questions that I face very often. When we promote these programs or when we meet customers or potential customers who like to work with us, in our SAA program, that they ask how stable is the country, especially after the Myanmar issue. They say, "Oh, we love the property. We buy in your idea and the potential." So you have touched down that the stability of this country is very important. It's unlike the other countries. It has proven its stability and the rapid growth.
Yes, yes. Yes, maybe I'll just expand a little bit, all right,
Yeah.
on what the two words, so that it will be able to help the audience understand. We have to ask ourselves, okay, if we are there at the right time, obviously we stand to understand a lot of things, and we will have the opportunity to take advantage of it. Often or not, people do not have the opportunity to understand things, or not given that right moment to understand it. So they can only recount that experience through reading, or our good friend Google or YouTube will probably say something about it. So I think it's hard to understand Cambodia if you are just gonna depend on YouTube. That's my personal advice. Okay,
Yeah.
I've been there so many times, and every time I go, it is changing so fast. Those days in Singapore where we are changed so fast, that each, every 2-3 months is different. This is Cambodia, my friend. This is Cambodia, and Cambodia is going through the same phase of changes. If you ask yourself, for the last decade, the GDP of 7%, all right, on average, how can that be possible? That is only
Yeah.
possible if there is serious commitment towards the growth, and there is something that must be working. The mechanism must be working. If not, it cannot sustain that kind of stability and growth. So if you have that consistency, then you ask yourself, how many people or how many businesses actually participate in this growth? So there is a lot of commitment, not only from the Cambodia community, business community, but also from the global community that they want to participate in this growth. So you have to visit Cambodia, that's number one, to really understand the important fundamental of what drives this country, what made this country has such robust growth. Of course, you can go on YouTube first, and you can go on, food channel or whatever channel you like, but do not just based on that, because they are, you know they might not give you the right picture. Okay, and Cambodia, of course, has a very sad past. We all understand those past, but we are not part of the past. We're supposed to be part of the future. That's what I always say. Do you know that, just to share with you that important point there, looking at it positively, put it in the right so-called context. Okay, so when we go into investment, we want to look at it on the same page. Okay, what does the future hold? What are the things that drive this country? What are the demand? What are the so-called, who are the people that are involved in this so-called part and parcel of growth? So why Cambodia to me is so exciting, because it is really on steroid. The growth is phenomenal. You look at the GDP, and you look at the US currency being used as a de facto currency. These are signs that actually create some form of stability. Okay, the Ring government has also provided a lot of initiative on how they want to see transparency in Cambodia's economy, in Cambodia's growth, as well as foreign investment coming in. You know very well, that you can own the property freehold, right, in Cambodia.
Yeah.
Okay, so this to me, what is freehold in property? When we talk about freehold, we actually very thrilled to know about it, because in Singapore it's very expensive to own the freehold. Okay, and it's not very far from Singapore. So I think all this make a lot of sense. And another thing is that why there is also a changing trend is because you can see, if you look at the student itself, right? The students used to, the populations, the so-called young students, they used to go to Singapore and Malaysia to study, okay, to get themselves qualified, PSLE and so on and so forth, most O level, and before they enter in university. Through the years, I have seen a lot of changes in this area. I have seen that they have done maybe perhaps the PSLE in Singapore, and then they go back to Cambodia to do the O level, because there are schools in Cambodia that can actually help you to do PSLE, O level. Okay, so they're international school. I visited those schools. I involved in the school activity in Cambodia too. So I visit the schools. I understand the principle, the teaching, all that, and I was amazed. I was amazed. That's why I say I am truly very confident about this country. The prospect, the resource, the talent behind it, the growth potential is tremendous. Tremendous, I can say that. Okay, and a lot of them actually end up in Australia and in university, because it's cheaper. Rent is cheaper, and they get a wider exposure, to the so-called different opportunities out there. So they develop themselves, not in terms of academically, but in terms of many ways of how they how to go about their development as a young adult. And those people that are studies in Australian University, because I'm the advisor for the Cambodia of Victoria, the Student Association. So from time to time, we if they have issues, I try to help them out. Okay, just a form of goodwill. So so I understand that they have tremendous potential, and that potential, upon their qualification, upon their graduation, will be a driving force, will be a true so-called contribution towards Cambodia's future, in terms of leadership, in terms of management, in terms of the know-how, bringing the wealth of knowledge, that they accumulate around the globe, coming back and rebuilding. I use the word rebuilding because they have suffered a lot. And that's why you and we visit Cambodia before, like Angie and all that. We understand that this country has so much potential. So as an investor, what does that mean to us? It means that these are the things that can support the potential growth of your asset. You got people who wants the best in life because they understand there is more out there. There are people who come back and want to change and make things better and improve the quality of life. They are looking at the way they live, how they live. Smart city. You heard about smart city, right?
Yes.
They want to, Cambodian government want to put smart city in different places of the country. Why? Because this is the way to go. This is the future. And on top of that, along the line of stability as well, we are talking about the ASEAN community. Cambodia has been part of the ASEAN community, and in those days, you know the ASEAN community play a very important part, and still true today. They not only ensure a form of so-called support to each other's country, but they also try to create a policy that they can work together collectively in the whole Southeast Asia region, to be able to ensure peace and as well as progress into economy and so on and so forth. So these are things that are well in place, and working very well, in fact, to able to allow Cambodia to mature quickly and to be able to play a bigger role in the future. So that is, to me, an important part of stability coming in strongly. And of course, the stability part, as you can see, that the investment from the China region, has been very obvious. They are putting a lot of money. There's a lot of highway being built across the country. There's an article that says that to go to Sihanouk View, which is one of the coastal town with the deep sea port and all that, and they call it the Shenzhen, of Cambodia. That used to take about 5 to 6 hours by car, right, from Phnom Penh City. Yeah, I travel there, sometimes. Exciting, But today, soon enough, I would say, the highway will be ready, and you can do it right under 2 hours.
Wow.
Right under 2 hours.
Wow.
So can you imagine that with such an infrastructure being put in, okay, new airport being built, all right, these are things that are very positive towards the growth of this country. Again, as an investor, what do you think? So it's not so much of how I feel about it.
True.
You know how I feel about it. But I want to share with you, like I say, under my personal observations, understanding of how the dynamics of this country work. What does it mean to an investor? Correct. You are putting $1. You're putting $1. Do you think your $1 will go lesser and it become 50 cents? The answer is no. You might not. I cannot tell you will get $2, but you will not get 50 cents. All right. So for that $1, you might get $20. All right. So to me, that's good return as well. Okay.
Yeah.
So it is affordable. It is good. It's not overpriced. There's a lot of opportunity. Work with the right people. Get the right understanding. So these are the things that actually make this country grow. Okay. So the changing trends are important. How they do it, and of course you might ask me, Philip, what about you talk about the stability, you talk about the so-called framework for sustainability, that so many countries are participating, FTAs being signed between China, Japan, and so on and so forth, and they all want to participate in the growth. They are very strong in agriculture, of course, that, and they're also very strong in so-called manufacturing, so their cost is cheaper, population is younger, talents, we talk about talents, there are more overseas talents coming back. Okay? So these are the things that will change the whole city, social economy and all that, what I mean? So I am very thrilled to see that.
Yes. And the youth are very hungry to learn, like what you say on the education sector, the people are very not only humble but not lazy at all, and then very hungry to learn in any aspect. That's the beauty about it. If you have a hungry to learn, you will definitely grow the place where you are working, the place where your environment is, and then they look forward to be a first class citizen. They have a hunger for that.
Yes. I have a lot of good friends, and close friends, and often the word, the linguistic, or the lingual, phrases will come out. Things like "why not?" They will tell, "Why not? Why not, brother?" So
Positive, very much.
To me, I hear this word "why not." It's maybe to other people who don't pay attention. I would say, pay attention. If somebody say "why not," Okay, that is the spirit. You
Yes.
know, in Malaysia we say Malaysia boleh, huh?
Yeah.
In Singapore we say on, okay, no worries, huh? In Australia, so these are the linguistic. You understand the spirit of the country, the spirit of the people, and then another word, Gina, I share with you, is for sure. They will use the
Mm.
word for sure. You know, some of them have limited vocabulary in English, but the word they use, okay, represent what the true meaning that's in here.
Yes.
They believe in it.
Yes.
Okay, so these are very so-called significant words to me. You know, I get involved in law communities and I understand those words mean something, and it means something to them. It should mean something to me. Okay, I
Mm.
just have to understand what does it really means in terms of context of what you are in and how you get yourself involved in what you're doing. You see, so that's the reason why I do say again, visit the country, understand the people, go and enjoy Angkor Wat, beautiful, very historical. Go and mix with the local, have a few Cambodian dance. Go Naga World, play some casino, whatever it is. I mean, go and see it so that you understand. And if you're worried about language, you should not be worried. I mean, there's so many expatriates living in Cambodia. That's
Yes.
the reason why
Yes.
the property prices are up, 12%, 10%. And you can see that a lot of properties coming out. And you will also understand that they speak Mandarin too, okay? They can, what I would say here, they can speak Mandarin, so that's fantastic, all right? And they can speak English, so not to worry. Of course, often I try to learn a bit of Cambodia, and I'll say Jung Rich So Survive, so but that helps a little bit. But importantly, they can understand English, they can speak Mandarin, and they're so welcoming. For any foreigner who wants to visit Cambodia, I tell you, you should not worry at all. Okay, that is a plus point. So that is good, isn't it, Gina?
Yes, yes. I went to Siem Reap many years ago with my charity for Rotary Club and then Boys Brigade. So when we were in visiting Angkor Wat, I was surprised that once they know that I grew up in Japan, from Japan, so they started to
Ah,
talk to me in Japanese.
ah,
And these are the young kids along the Angkor Wat, Siem Reap area, and they are not even a tour guide. That's the beauty of how hungry they have learned and the hunger to improve themselves. So
yes,
I
yes, yes.
am since then I was quite touched, and then that was years back. And like you say, we've been to a lot of countries in our lives, but the important is the people, the mindset, sustainability, and growth factors. All these
Yes, indeed.
are the plus points that they have, tick after another tick over there.
Yeah. I think also we not to forget that the ASEAN also currently have a lot of regional free trade agreement, right? That I mentioned with you with
Yes.
Australia, New Zealand, China, Japan, South Korea, India, and all that kind. And this actually support and prepare Cambodia for more foreign investment.
Mm.
Isn't it? So this help to strengthen to give Cambodia a sound economic and trade policy, and that's the reason why you can see that there's a lot of investment into infrastructure as well in development. So the government is actually reforming, in many ways, to make sure that they are up to date, transparency, as well as a high move toward democratic and accountability. So this country is young, ready workforce, able to communicate in English and Chinese, ready to take on jobs and factories. And foreign investment can enjoy correct very affordable kind of cost. And when we talk about that, of course, we talk about the building, the office building, right? So office building is also very important, okay, because you have to have the right so-called support in terms of digital 5G. 5G is happening in Cambodia, believe it or
Mm.
not. 5G is happening.
Yes. Yes.
So it's amazing. So they are well set up. Well set up to address the future. And the government is very pro business government, and that's what makes this country so active, economically. so welcoming to the foreigners. Yeah. So I would say that even back in 1993, if I remember, Maybank was the first Malaysia bank to be established.
Oh, even in 93. Wow.
1993.
Wow.
If it's no good, Maybank would have gone back.
Yes, yes, yes.
You know,
I mean,
you say.
it is a little bit conservative bank actually in the banking sector, careful, and then to be present there, it must be something good.
Yes, correct. So that's the reason why they have a lot of tourists coming in as well. And you earlier mentioned Angkor Wat, and you also must take note, that they have a international airport coming up, new international airport. Okay, so there are many things developing there, to cater for it as well. You got the Rolls Royce, international brand, Rolls Royce, in Cambodia. Okay, imagine that they got a lot of that. You see?
Yes,
So cars are not cheap. Cars are not cheap, and the resort, the MIC, what call that, the convention and entertainment, Naga, as it's a very well known hotel conventional center. They even go on to build the Naga tree. Okay, so those are all in a prime location. So therefore, I think a lot of investor probably will have to start to rethink a bit
yes,
about how they stretch their dollar when this COVID is over, and to do a little bit of visiting and to understand the opportunity that present itself in emerging economy like Cambodia, a population of 60 million people, becoming a median income earners, fast growing, and I think that's what it is, what I
yes.
mean. So not
I
not to
heard
not to
that
miss that boat. Yeah.
I heard that the fintech industry is also up to date, They are
Yes.
totally not at
Yes.
the back at all. They are in the trend and up to date.
Yes. Yes. Indeed. Indeed. There's a
Yeah.
lot of things going on, Gina. I can talk all day about Cambodia. I mean, I'm very involved in it. And there is even at current moment they are also consolidating a master policy or plan for 2040, how they want to address what can I, the middle income, growing, moving forward, building a culture of democracy, and also the necessary institution and government mechanism, to be able to look at how they want to grow, and the culture of dialogue. I mean, these are very important steps, I mean, in terms
Yeah.
of how they want to grow.
Yeah.
So I am very happy,
Yeah.
and very confident, in fact.
So, I mean, I got so many other questions, but we don't have much time. And then
Oh,
I
time
think
pass, huh?
I think
Flies,
a
it
lot of
flies.
questions that I have prepared to ask you, you have covered them. Uh,
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
I will just give you one last questions to all
Okay.
our audience and our viewers. What's your last advice?
Okay, if okay, earlier on I mentioned that you should not have problem. Traveling in Cambodia is pretty safe. Hotels are clean. Food are good. Sanitizing, no problem at all. Okay, and if you are into investment, if you're looking for people to support you, I can assure you the service provider there, maybe the real estate or maybe the banking sector, they are professional, they are up to standard in the way they understand management as well as dealing, because like all I just mentioned earlier on about how they grow, the kind of support from the region, Singapore, Malaysia, and the Western world coming together to support them, in terms of knowledge sharing and as well as platform for growth and overseas educated Cambodian returning home. So they are well and ready. Okay, well and ready. In property, we talk about in Australia we talk about the real estate license. We have the officer in effective control. Then a few years ago in Singapore, they started the KEO, Key Executive Officer, so they have that system in place. Malaysia started theirs, what I mean? Yeah, the legislation on real estate to make sure that there is a form of government regarding transparency as accountability. And soon enough, Cambodia is going to have one, what I mean? So all in line, going to lift up the whole platform of accountability and standard. That is so important to investor, isn't it?
Yes,
It doesn't matter whether it's overseas or local. As
yes,
so we're moving towards the right direction. Okay, Cambodia is moving towards the right directions. But don't come into Cambodia hoping to make a fast fortune. Never do that. Or anywhere in the world, okay? Never anywhere in the world. The kingdom is definitely is an ongoing foreign investment as part of the process of growing its economy and improve its standard of living for its people, as well as to make sure that you profit as well for your venture. But keep a long-term view. That's my view. Keep a long-term view. Stay committed. Build good relationship, and obviously always listen to nice program that can give you a little bit of insight.
Yes.
Especially Gina there. And
Yeah.
these are the ways we move
Yeah.
forward. We should not limit ourselves. Okay, ladies and gentlemen. I will say this. Do not limit yourself the opportunity, because COVID allowed us to reset the button. Doesn't matter how good you are, doesn't matter how weak you are, everybody start on the same line. Okay, the world, businesses, the world, professionalism, all start on the same line because it has a reset button. You and I are locked down at home. You and I cannot do anything. We can't fly. So we are at the right time in history, the right timing. We just have to understand there is a reset button right in front of us. And once after COVID, we just have to be on the same line. And whoever has the right mindset, whoever can see beyond the borders or beyond what they're doing, keeping positive mindset in place and checking the opportunity out there, you'll be the fastest to achieve it.
I feel like a marathon is coming.
I'm ready. I don't know. My bag is packed actually. I just had to find my passport. I think somewhere. But whatever it is, I would say, in Cambodian language, Okun Chran. Thank you to my Cambodian friends, who have guided me so many years in my journey in Cambodia, providing friendship as well as knowledge to my understanding of this country. This beautiful country is indeed the kingdom of wonder, and I wish you well and hope to see you soon as well.
Yeah.
Right, Gina?
Thank you so much, Mr. Philip Tan, for coming down and then accepting
Pleasure.
our interview. And then, especially with the time difference, thank you so much for that. And we will be definitely glad to have you again in the future. So with this, we will end our interviews. But please stay on. We will have some more intro of our program and other things. So thank you so much.
Thank
Okay.
you.
Bye
Thank you.
bye. Yeah.
Okun Chran. Thank you. Bye.